Well, hello. I'm Mark Pikert, and you are tuned into this week's episode of Work in Blue, where I get to talk to the guys who make us come on a more regular basis than our partners do. And today's guest is now officially verified as fabulous on an international level. It is the one, the only Sharok.
Hi.
I cannot believe that I'm talking to you because one, it's very difficult for me to talk to men as attractive as myself. So I'm making an exception for you. But you won the Grabby International Porn Star. Like
I did.
That's global.
It was very humbling and unexpected actually. I wasn't expecting to win that. So yeah, I'm very grateful.
I like that you phrase it as I wasn't expecting to win that.
I
You were fully
wasn't.
prepared to win them all, but that one you were like, eh.
No, actually I think it's the only one I was one of the well no, I think I was nominated for other stuff too, but that was like a huge I was like, wow, like thank you to everybody who voted.
I mean, what runs through your mind when you're recognized at that level? Like that's international is the entire world. That's what international means.
Yeah, it does. I think I mean, what ran through my mind in that moment, I mean, if you watch the if you watch the video from that night, I was pretty much speechless. I didn't really know what to say, so I kind of fumbled a lot. But it was just like a culmination of the years that I put in, and it was just like I said, humbling to be recognized on that scale. I don't
So
know.
when did you when did you go all in on an adult career? What year?
I started like end of 2017 and then really kind of blew up through 18 and 19, 2018, 2019. And then, so yeah, that's when I started.
And then 2020 changed the game for everyone because suddenly everyone's at home and everyone's real open about watching porn.
Yeah, it definitely changed the game as far as studio porn goes. We all were just left, like all of us who depended on that as like a main source of income, we're just kind of like, well, fuck, now what do we do? So we really had to, we really had to put in a lot of work into our fan content, which and then because of the pandemic and people were just home, really just kind of took off and became its own huge phenomenon that I think is still kind of going, that I'm
Every
grateful for.
every time I speak to someone and they ask what I do and I tell them like the mainstream stuff and then I say, and
Yeah.
I also talk to porn stars. And they're like, really? Porn
Uh-huh.
stars? Huh. And I'm like, first of all, fuck you. Second of all, these guys are basically Olympians who don't have endorsement deals. And they're also marketers, editors, videographers, actors, directors, casting directors. Like you guys do it all.
I,
When you were making the shift from studio to really focusing on fan platform content, was it a steep learning curve with that stuff or were you ready?
no, it was a learning curve. I'm grateful that I already had a platform set up. So I had somewhere and I had somewhat of a fan base, so people knew who I was and a following on Twitter and stuff. So that definitely helped me. But I had to learn the ins and outs of like OnlyFans, just for my fans, and lighting and things that I had kind of taken for granted because on set they do it for you. You just kind of have to show up and perform. I had to do all that myself. And the promotion part, it's really a full-time job.
Guys, what I love about the performers who've kind of risen to the top in 2022 is you are on top of it and you really care about connecting with your fans in a way that I don't think existed before the explosion of fan platforms.
Not really. I feel like in like the golden age of porn stars were like celebrities within our own little like within our own community, but they were also very unattainable. Like you couldn't directly talk to them, or you couldn't like just hit them up on OnlyFans and DM them, or like hit them up on a social media platform. And now I feel like we're a lot more accessible, and we have to. Um, it's just part of the job. It's does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's customer service.
Yeah, yeah. And without them, like we really wouldn't um have what we have. I don't know. They make the industry, you know, and we do the work, but we need them to keep us to sustain it.
I mean, if two guys fuck and no one's watching, did they even fuck?
Sorry, there's like steam that it's my humidifier that keeps blowing out.
No, I didn't even
What
notice.
looks like
I've got a
smoke.
dishwasher going in the other room, so
Okay,
both of us are A
I do
plus
it
with appliances today.
for the plants.
I so one of the things that I love about your OnlyFans specifically
Uh-huh.
is you actually in your bio list the content that you update with.
Hmm.
And so few people do that. And it's such a great marketing tool because you go to your OnlyFans page and you immediately know before you subscribe, like, oh, here's all the stuff that I'm interested in seeing. Absolutely. I want to do this. And I think that that speaks to your entire persona, not on screen, but more interacting with fans. You really care about giving people a good experience.
Yeah, I feel like you have to like you kind of have to, and I do enjoy I enjoy what I do, and I've subscribed to many OnlyFans pages, and I'm not going to say who or but uh, some of them don't. I mean, you can get away with just being hot for so long, but there has to be a little something extra. Does that make sense? I'm not trying to sound like
No, I mean, like, you can only jack off to a hot guy for so long before it gets boring.
yeah.
It's like
I feel like
every time I'd hit on a guy at a bar and he'd turn me down, I would say to myself, you know what? For every attractive person out there, there's somebody who fucking hates their guts, and that made me feel better.
that's a good one.
So I think, if I may, one of the
Yeah.
things that sets your content apart from other porn stars is you are extremely confident, and the confidence comes out in a very sexy way where you are focused on your own pleasure and confident enough that as you're getting off, the other guy will get off from it. And
Thank
that
you.
is so, like, you are in control of those scenes and you never see a performer going through the motions or, oh, this will be hot, I'll do this, and then my next move is this. You're very focused on getting off, and that is so sexy.
Thank you. I mean, I'm not so much sometimes focused on myself getting off. I'm more focused on like the other person a lot of the times. And what I so like some guys will hit me up before we film, and I'm just like, they're like, well, what are you into? Camera angles, this and that, and I'm just like, you know what? Honestly, we just put the cameras like where they're gonna be, and then we just start making out and just kind of forget that they're there. And that's the way I like to do it because I like it to be like a genuinely pleasurable experience, and I feel like that is sometimes lacking in fan content and then also in studio porn because it's very mechanical.
Yeah.
So I just try to make it as natural as possible. And if the other person is getting off, that in turn gets me off. Like, yeah, of course I want to come, but if they're coming or if they're about to come, like that to me is just like, all right, that gets me going. Does that make sense?
Yes, and that's what
Okay.
I was very clumsily trying to say. Like, you are, there's something very charismatic about your scenes, no matter who it is, and there's just something about the way that you really love fucking that comes
Thank you.
through.
Well, I do. I enjoy what I do.
It should be a prerequisite of the job, and yet
Mhm.
I can show you many videos where I'm like, they don't like sex.
I think people can pick up on it. Not everybody, but I think people can kind of pick up on whether you're actually into it or not. And there's a place for that kind of porn where it's just like boom, 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 like very mechanical sex. Like that's fine. But if I'm gonna be making my own content on my own terms, I want it to be a pleasurable experience for everybody.
Well,
Hopefully.
that it definitely is.
Okay.
Now,
Thanks.
I was looking at your social media before we spoke, and
Yeah.
the question on everybody's mind now is your favorite movie is the Royal Tenenbaums. Which Tenenbaum do you most identify with?
Ooh, I think all of them, actually. That's a good question. And that was just the first one that came to my head because I have it like downloaded. That Life Aquatic, Grand Budapest Hotel, and I just watched Darjeeling Limited again. I don't know why. I just love those movies. I love that he uses the same cast and everyone. Um, I definitely can relate to Gwyneth Paltrow's character a lot.
We're all Margos just chiming
Or all
along,
Margos, yeah, smoking cigarettes, sneaking cigarettes on the rooftop.
smearing
Um,
our eyeliner on every morning.
yes. Uh, but yeah, I was probably one of those characters at one point in my life, every single one of them. So it's just a very I grew up in such chaos that just watching that movie is very comforting to me because it's so chaotic.
Where did you
Yeah.
grow up?
I grew up here in LA, born and raised. So yeah, growing up in LA, um, around the Hollywood, West Hollywood, Culver City, Venice area, is can be quite chaotic.
Yeah, it's
You
still,
know,
even not growing up there, it can be chaotic.
yeah, for a little queer kid, a little brown queer kid, it was it was interesting.
What what prompted the move into adult?
Well, a lot. I mean, I always wanted to do porn ever since I was like 16 years old, and I used to take the bus from my mom's place from Culver City to West Hollywood, and I would see go-go dancers at the Abbey or Here Lounge. Um, I always wanted to be a part of that world somehow. And at 16, 17, I got into clubs and I kind of was. And then when I turned 18, I was already doing sex work at that time as well. Um, by the time I turned 18, I did my first studio scene. And it just wasn't a great experience. So I stopped until many years later.
What were you
But I
doing in
always,
between?
what was I doing in between? I then went to school in Hawaii for horticulture. I've always been into plants and animals, and I wanted to be a farmer. And so I went to school in Hawaii for horticulture. I worked at a farm. I did landscaping for many years, and then came back to LA and continued doing landscaping and landscape design. Um, yeah, I did a little bit of everything. I helped my family in their family business. I even went to cosmetology school and got my cosmetology license, and but never really did anything with it. I just wanted to to like play with wigs and drag queens, and I thought being a cosmetologist or a hairstylist would do that.
It's important to have multiple options.
Yeah. So, so right before I started doing porn, I was again doing sex work, and then but I was also working in treatment in drug and alcohol treatment until I
So,
started doing this full time.
what got you back into studio?
Teddy Bear,
Uh-huh.
Teddy Bear got me a my first scene because he knew that I was escorting, and we would talk and we're friends. We would see him at the gym all the time and talk about work. And he's like, "Well, why don't you, if you're doing this, why don't you just do a studio?" And I was like, "I've done it. I don't know." And then like the second or third time he asked me, I'm like, "Okay, let's do it." And so he hooked it up. I did the scene. They gave me a great rate, um, and and then it just kind of snowballed from there. My friend Adam Ramsey, who I've known for like 15 years, got me in with Raging Stallion with Steve Cruz, and Shishi LaRue got me a scene, and it just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. So Shishi and Steve Cruz really kind of pushed me into into where I am now in the beginning.
And where you are now is at the top of the heap.
I mean, I'm grateful. I don't know that I'm at the top of the heap. I kind of feel like I'm old news at this point, but
You just went international.
yeah, I don't know.
No, I think that's one of the best things about the fan platform culture is we don't cycle through guys as quickly as the porn industry used to because you guys are no longer dependent on studios hiring you. You are your own studios. So you really you're not pigeonholed into the same kind of thing.
No, absolutely. They kind of give us a platform, and you just kind of have to do with it what you will. And some people are really good at that, and some people it's more challenging. But it's definitely something that I feel like anybody can learn how to do.
Well, and also on your social media, I mean, it's not just the Royal Tenenbaums, although that is a big part of it. You were talking about your new teeth because you had your teeth knocked out in a protest in 2020.
I did. I'm not supposed to vape with them in, but whatever. It's
fine. You know what? We're not supposed to vape or smoke at all. But so who cares at the end of the day?
I know. Yeah, in 2020, I went to my first protest for BLM, and we were all really. I mean, the whole country, the whole world was shaken, and so at the first protest in downtown LA, towards the end of it, somebody just chucked a hammer into the crowd, somebody from outside, and it happened to hit me in the mouth. Thank God it hit me in the mouth and not in the eye or like the back of the head or, because it could have been a lot worse. So yeah, I got 30 stitches here, and then these 2 teeth got knocked out. And it took a year of like having to get a bone graft and implants, and then like to get new ones, and then it's been 2 years where I finally got. And initially, I wanted gold teeth, and everybody was like, "No, don't do that. That's tacky." I'm like, "Fuck you, I want it." So finally, I was like, "You know what? I'm just gonna do it."
So much of the porn industry really rose to the occasion, and some of it did not during the resurgence of the Black Lives Matter protests, and you really got a sense of this isn't just. These guys aren't just there to fuck and to make money. They're also there to create an industry that they want to remain a part of.
Are you talking about performers or studios or?
Performers, definitely performers.
Yeah, a lot of us, because of the platform that we've been given, and also the following that we have on social media, I feel like if we don't speak up on things that matter to us, that we're missing out on an opportunity to speak to a lot of people. And when it's something that important, it's like you can't just stay silent, and not talk about it or do something. And we tried, the porn industry tried to, they tried.
Yes, they sure did. They tried to try.
They tried. So it was really us performers who kind of, I mean, we were out there, I don't want to put my foot in my mouth.
No, there are better things to put in.
Anyway, what was your question again? Yes, we took it. We tried.
I think that the biggest sea change in terms of porn in the last 3 years has been all the performers have such platforms now that there's a real opportunity for one to have your voices heard, and two to become your own brands, and that only ensures more potential career longevity. And the best ones, including you, have really utilized those tools in order to create a strong foundation for a career that's going to last for a while.
I mean, yeah, hopefully, and it hopefully shows people that we, because I think that still sex workers and people who do porn are stigmatized, and it just shows you that we do more than just fuck on camera, and we care about more than just sex all the time. It's like sex is on the back of our minds, way in the back of our minds most of the time. It's not.
It's there, but it's not at the top.
It's not there. Yeah, it's not 24/7. Like there's more important things in the world that we do care about, and we do need to use our platforms to speak up on.
So one of the things that sets you apart is obviously the insane body. Even by porn standards, that body is like men's fitness. Like, be on the cover of Men's Fucking Fitness, please.
I try. Thank you.
Was fitness always a big thing for you, or has that become more important as you've gotten older?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, fitness has always been a big thing for me. I was a really heavy set, overweight kid. And so when I turned like 14, 15, 16 is when I started to really want to like change the way that I looked physically. And so that just set off. So yeah, I've been working out since I was like 14, 15. But my mom was a personal trainer and the Pilates instructor. My dad did like amateur bodybuilding when he was younger. So I grew up around fitness and like eating healthy my whole life. So it was just very natural to kind of go in that direction. But I still have horrible body dysmorphia and like and eating issues and things like that. So don't get it, you know.
Isn't it amazing that we can get compliments all day long and then at the end of the day look in the mirror and go, God, you fat fuck?
Yeah, I mean, and especially I think for being overweight as a you know, growing up in my formative years, I'm still always going to feel like in the back of my mind like that little chubby Persian kid. Even though I look in the mirror and it looks different now, it's like the thought process is still there sometimes.
Well, anytime that you are feeling like that little chubby kid again, please message me and I will assure you that you are not.
Thank you. And there's nothing wrong. I look back and I'm like, oh my God, you were so cute. But I you know, I knew I was gay and I was very effeminate. And on top of that, I was Persian. And then on top of that, I was overweight. So I got teased a lot. And I thought, okay, there's only one thing out of the equation that I can change. And so I changed that one thing.
A friend of mine, when I was complaining about life or my own dysmorphia shit, and
Yeah.
a friend said, Mark, you are not brace face skinny drawl from Texas anymore. Please stop acting like it.
Yeah, exactly. But that shit stays with you.
It does. It's the formative years. And so that's the vision of yourself that you have in your head. If you are unfortunate enough to hold on to it, which
for sure.
Many of us do.
It's hard not to.
But we're running out of time. And before we wrap up, I wanted to talk about being verse and what you look for. What makes a good bottoming experience for you?
I have yet to experience a good bottoming experience.
Well, then there you go.
Yeah. I know what feels good and what doesn't. So I try to do that when I top. I mean, yeah.
Then what makes a good top experience for you?
Me as a top?
Yeah.
What makes a good top experience for me? When we're both having fun, when the other person is getting pleasure out of what we're doing. When they kind of like let me do whatever I want. But if it's consensual, you know, then it just kind of like, I don't know. I feel like with any sexual experience, like good exchange, good energy, there's like a level of communication, and then also like unspoken communication, like body language that you kind of pick up on if you know the person. And yeah, I feel like that is a good sexual experience.
Is there a difference? Is there a difference in the way you have sex on camera versus just in your own personal life?
Not really. With a partner, it's not always, no, because I feel like also the way that I have sex on camera varies from like video to video too. I don't know if you've seen some of my like personal content, but like it's not all people think that I'm this like rough dom daddy, and like yeah, there's videos where that happens, but it's because of the other person's energy and what they're giving back to me and like what we've discussed or what they're into. Like I'm not just gonna go choke every fucking person that I have sex with, but if they put their hands on my hands on their neck as we're having sex. I'm like, oh, okay, this is what's happening. And there's also like very loving and very sensual and very connected like sexual experiences, like, but that I show on film. So I don't know. It kind of differs from like person to person.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty genuine reflection of what I do off camera. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to say like, oh, in my personal life, I just cry the entire time.
You know, it's hard to. I don't have a lot of sex actually in my personal life, to be honest. I need to find like a regular fuck buddy again.
I mean, look, it's like when I was casting director for Michael Lucas right out of college, and I did not have sex that entire job because I did not want to take my work home with me.
Yeah, when you're staring at it all day and you're in it all day, sometimes it's like the last thing you want to think about when you go home.
Well, and that's the crazy thing too about what you do for a living is you are watching yourself, you're living the same sexual experience over and over and over as you're editing and uploading and doing and finding thumbnails. So at a certain point, it just becomes a blur.
I want to cuddle. I love cuddling. Like we could fuck, and then we'll just like cuddling is like my favorite thing. Like that's almost better than sex sometimes.
You just want to cuddle and watch Wes Anderson movies.
Yes, this is and order Postmates.
I mean, there you go. I mean, that's not hard to find.
Yeah, I need to find that again.
You know, we'll do a PSA. Well, I'll put a PSA in the YouTube video and really sound the alarm for Wes Anderson fans with the Postmates account.
Perfect. I want to be in a Wes Anderson film.
It's only a matter of time, babe.
Pitch it. Let's do it.
That is that has to be your Halloween costume this year. You have to be Margo.
To be Margo? Okay. I need a mink fur and a pack of Marlboro Lights.
I mean, I can get you both of those things from small town Texas. No problem.
Perfect. Perfect.
Oh my Sharok, this is literally longer than I normally let anyone talk to me. So congratulations on that. But
thank you.
You're just as funny and charming as I suspected from social media. And I think that what you have done with your career should be studied by future porn stars, because I think that what you've done is really special, and who you are is really special and comes through in the scenes and in your social media. So
thank you.
Big kudos on being an awesome guy. Thank you.
I just think that also there's no representation of people from my part of the world. So there's Arad Winwin who was in it before I was. So, but there's really just us two who are Iranian, and that, I don't know. I feel like we need to broaden our what's the word I'm looking for? Branch out. Be more inclusive in the industry. There can't just be two of us.
We thought that was going to happen in 2020, and here we are in 2022.
Yeah. So yeah.
No, and as someone who's leading the charge on that front, you're doing a really remarkable job of being a leader.
Thank you. I hope so.
Now remember, the next time that you're feeling like that chubby boy, reach out.
I will. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right.
Thank you so much for joining me. Guys, thank you for watching. Tune in next week for another episode of Work in Blue.